Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bret Dewhurst, and I am the Community Programs Coordinator for Better Business Bureau of Upstate New York. I want to welcome you today to our first of a series of three webinars on specifically the torture word for ethics. So this is an opportunity to learn kind of a way to go through the application process to make sure that your information is accurate, that you're able to submit it, and to know that you have resources out there that can answer any questions that you may have. A couple of housekeeping things. This webinar will be recorded and available on our website after the recording, usually within 24 hours. I'm going to have you keep yourself on mute and your cameras off unless you're asking a question at the end, and I will open it up for questions at the end of our presentation today. So, quick introduction to myself. So, the torture word for ethics basically honors organizations whose leaders demonstrate a high level of personal character, ensure that the organization's practices meet the highest standard of ethics, and consequently generate trust within customers in the community. Basically, it embodies BBB's mission on advancing business trust. The application period opened 2 weeks ago from today, and it is closing on January 15th, 2025. So you have a little bit more than 2.5 months to get your applications in. At any point, you can save the application. You don't need to do the entire thing all at once. So you have opportunities to kind of go back to it as you're completing that particular application. There are 8 different categories that are associated with the torture word for ethics, and it is strictly based on the number of employees at your organization. So, sole proprietor being one employee, small, medium size, medium, large, and corporate, as well as we have 2 categories for the nonprofit sector, a small at 1 to 9 employees, and then large for 10 plus employees. So, when you apply, one of the questions that you'll answer is the number of employees at your organization, so we know which category you immediately fall into. The torture wards are open for profit 501(c)(3) and 501(c)(6) nonprofit organizations of all sizes located within BBB of upstate New York's 48 county service areas. We service all throughout Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, Albany, the North Country, everything basically except for the New York City suburbs, as well as a couple of the counties that are just below the Albany area. For eligibility and criteria accommodations, BBB accreditation is not required. For profit and 501(c) applicants, you must have at least a B rating with the BBB system. For 501(c)(3) nonprofit applications, you must be able to complete the charitable standards evaluation process to meet all of the BBB standards for charity accountability. Organizations, regardless if they are for profit or nonprofit, they must have been in business for at least 3 years. In addition, all financial obligations must be met. Applicants are not eligible for the torture award if they've received the torture award within the past 5 years. So if you apply in 2019, the next time you can apply is in 2024. So any applicant basically that has won the torture awards in 2020, this is the first year that they're eligible to apply for. But anything 21, 22, 23, 24, you're not going to be eligible until you've passed that 5-year mark. Government agencies are not eligible to submit an application, and a business or charity meeting these guidelines may also be nominated for the award. So if you're listening, if you're seeing this webinar after today, you have the opportunity to nominate another individual. If you nominate someone, you can feel free to send an email to us. You can call us. There's also opportunities that you can nominate in addition through social media and other opportunities as well. So the judging process is standard every year. Entries are evaluated by an independent voluntary panel of judges, and they're comprised of business leaders and community leaders in our 48 counties. Your written submission, including examples, stories, documents, and anything else that you want to submit, should provide a robust and accurate description of your organization's focus on the 4 different areas that we look for. That's culture, community, customers, and character. You're allowed to submit any supporting documents that you're interested in. So, for example, if you have reviews that are posted that you want to submit, if there's images of work that you've done, if there's volunteer opportunities, you've had the opportunity to do so, please feel free to submit all that information to us. So during the application process, as you open up the application, you will be asked the following. And I'll read through these pretty quickly. You'll notice that a lot of these you can actually complete very quickly as well. So organization name and address, the owner or the CEO, email address, phone, fax number if applicable. And then it's going to ask you the total number of full-time employees, part-time employees, contracted employees, and even volunteers if you have volunteers at your organization. The type of organization is important. So we want to make sure that you're categorized in the right particular area, whether you're sole proprietor, you're corporate, or you're for a nonprofit. We'll ask you to submit a brief description of the organization, usually a 1 or 2 sentence submission saying who you are, what you do, and what industry that you are in. The name and location of a parent organization, if it's applicable, as well as the organization contact, email, address, name, title, and phone number. So mostly just the contact information to kind of start things off, just so we can get in contact with you if we have questions regarding your application. During the application process, once you complete all the contact information, you'll be asked a series of 4 short answer questions. So I had mentioned before the 4 different C's that we have, the first one being character. So the question that's going to ask you is, as a leader, explain how you will behave intentionally and communicate with your leadership team, employees, customers, and stakeholders in a way that is consistent with your beliefs. So the information that's over to the right, the 3 bullet points, you're not required to answer all 3 of them. But if you're interested in one in particular that you want to go in depth with, that's okay as well. We just want to make sure basically that you are answering the question to its fullest capacity and you're submitting information that will be valuable for us to review and for our judges to review once those applications come in. So some ideas include how you strive to leave and lead with high character and intentionally seek feedback in order to make personal improvements, how your employer and your staff to carry out your organization's commitment to building and maintaining ethical business practices. And then finally, any tools or activities or training materials that you've done to reinforce your staff's commitment to character ethics as part of the organization's business practices. The second characteristic is culture. So with culture, we want you to illustrate how your organization works toward a culture of trust through a clarity of purpose, empowering employees, and then opportunities for growth. So some things you can include on that particular question are how to unite your team around organization's vision and your mission statement, how you empower employees to help shape your expectations and culture of the organization, and then what practices your company uses that demonstrates leadership's commitment to those individual employees. The third question, or the third criteria, is your customers. Be able to give examples of internal practices your organization uses to build better customer relationships. So you could include things like how to empower your employees to proactively address issues experienced by customers, how you go above and beyond to maintain transparency with those customers, as well as an instance where your commitment to honesty was a positive differentiator in that customer's interaction. So anything that you do for your customers or that your customers understand that you do for them is important through this particular process, and being able to explain basically who your customers are and how you take care of them on a daily basis. The fourth and final criteria is community. So in this particular area, we want you to display organizational programs, contribution and activities that return value to and support your community. So this doesn't necessarily mean community service, but what are you doing to better your community through your organization? So anything like programs, events that you guys do, that your organization puts on, whether it be a monthly event, an annual event, anything of that nature. How employees are encouraged and recognized for spending time in the community. Do you award your employees for doing community service or getting involved in events? Does your entire organization take a day off to do some sort of community engagement? So opportunities exist in that particular spectrum. Finally, on this slide, contribution of funds or in-kind services to community programs that are consistent with the organization's values. The last thing they'll ask you after those 4 short answer questions is references. Any contacts. These contacts can be customers, volunteers, they can be employees of your organization, but references that the judges can call to make sure basically that you are living up to the expectations of what the torture word for ethics means. You don't have to, this is not necessarily a required section of it. So if there aren't any references that are submitted, that's okay. But it's always nice to have a reference that we can call, we can get information from, and that our judges can really interact with. I think that's a great opportunity to kind of go above and beyond your application, if you will. A couple of quick notes. It is entirely free to apply. You can go through the BBB website. Simply everything is on bbb.org. You'll see a little section that says torture word for ethics. When you click on that, there'll be a button at the bottom that says start application. Then you'll get a page of information that says, here's the basic rules, here's the information in regards to that. And then it gives you an opportunity to kind of start the application right away. There's a save button at the bottom of the application on every single page. So if you want to complete just the contact information first and then save it and then go back a week later and complete one of the four short answers, you can do so. You can take as much time as possible to complete your application as long as you have it completed by that January 15th deadline. The judges are local business leaders, community leaders, journalists. They're individuals that are not affiliated with BBB.org. So it's a good opportunity to have your application judged by people that are outside of our organization and to see what you're doing in the community that's benefiting your local community and also the bigger community as well. Judges can choose to award categories, award one in any category. There's also opportunities where if we don't have a certain amount of applications that come in, or we don't have strong enough applications, we're not required to award a torch award in every single category. So the judges basically put a score on your particular application. They all have the same scoring system. And then once that scoring system is finalized, we receive the scores, go through the list basically, and make final decisions based upon the judge's opinions. Obviously, the highest scores that are available and that were given to us. Consumers and donors can nominate a business or charity, but the business must be the ones that complete the application. So the nominees, the nominators, if you will, they're not the ones that are completing the application. It has to be the business itself. But if you're nominated, we will contact you and encourage you to go through the application process and explain that you've been nominated to do so. Like I said before, everything is available on bbb.org. So if you do have any questions or concerns, the first thing I would suggest is go directly to our website. Once you're at that website, you'll be able to find all the information that's available. But if you do have any questions and concerns, we're certainly available for you as well. Just wanted to supply my contact information so you can reach out to myself. I'm Bret Dewhurst. Phone number and email address are on the screen. Feel free to reach out, whatever method is best for you. You can text me, you can call me, you can email me if you do have any questions in regards to the application process. Please note that I can't give specific tips or tricks in regards to the application because we must remain a neutral third party once the application is completed, and not all information will go to the judges. But if you do have a specific question in regards to a type of question that's on the application or anything specific to the application itself, I can certainly try to help you out if you do have any questions or concerns. So I just provided a lot of information in about 15 minutes or so, and I wanted to turn it over to see if you guys have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and have these questions available for us. But like I said before, the actual webinar itself will be posted on our website this afternoon or at the very latest tomorrow morning. So I want to say thank you for joining us. We do have two more Torch Award presentations that we'll be hosting, one in November and one in December. And you can go to bbb.org to see that information and to determine if another presentation will be available for you and if you're interested in attending.